Okay, next we have Katie Haberman would like to discuss public health.
If you could pass one of these around, I appreciate it. Good evening, Council. Over the past couple months,
Just speak into the mic so we can hear you. Thanks.
how's that? Over the past couple of months, you all have been presented with very valid, documented studies revealing fluoride to be a toxic and detrimental to human health and quality of life. You also have been shown that lead and arsenic are being purposefully introduced to our water supply under the umbrella term water fluoridation. Yet such little interest and concern is shown with the quality of water, and at times this council even seems annoyed by the overwhelming scientific evidence being presented. An excess water bill can easily hold the council's attention for up to 20 minutes, as we all saw last time. But without hesitation, the council quickly avoids and ignores such an important issue. Toxic chemicals being added to our water supply at your vote and majority decision has been the policy protected by this council. Surely the interests of the citizens of Raleigh cannot be protected when evidence of harm is ignored, ridiculous claims from supposed authorities are taken at face value, and the council resists giving this topic the serious consideration that it deserves. I'm personally offended by such a blatant attack on my personal health and the health of my family. Hazardous toxic chemicals like fluoride, arsenic, and lead are being added to my drinking water in a deliberate attack on my personal health. I have the right to decide what is put into my body, regardless of the whims of a misguided council. What gives the council the power to poison the citizens of Raleigh? Each member of the council has had a month to review the certificate of analysis and to formulate their answers to the questions you all ignored that I posed last month. I insist that these questions be answered today. I have made another copy of the certificate of analysis, and I would like to hear from all of you individually. I will voice these questions aloud now. Number 1, Council, why is $173,000 of taxpayers' money going to add these toxic waste products to our drinking water? Why not spend $173,000 to ensure the removal of such waste products in our community? Number 2, how is the council regulating the amount of fluoride that the people of our community are being exposed to? Number 3, can the council speak on the decision to introduce arsenic and lead under the umbrella term water fluoridation? Number 4, if the public policy is being based on a vote from 1956, at a time from which the electorate is largely deceased, should the citizens of 2012 have the ability to decide if they want these toxic compounds added at their expense?
Okay, thank you very much. Your 3 minutes is up. Okay, next we have Marcus Hill would like to discuss mass poisoning of citizens.
Silence speaks volumes. Good evening, Council. It's important that we recognize the mass poisoning of the citizens of Raleigh as the civil rights issue that it is. In an effort to reach what has been the deaf ear of this Council, I've compiled some quotes from respected civil rights leaders and hope their words can reach you. The League of United Latin American Citizens, LULAC, is the oldest Hispanic civil rights organization in the United States. In September 2011, LULAC passed a resolution opposing fluoridation at its annual conference. Henry Rodriguez, LULAC's Texas chairman, asserted that, quote, the Hispanic community is no longer going to be silent on this issue. Fluoridation is about forcing us to be medicated through our drinking water without our consent or full disclosure of the risks, end quote. Andrew Young, the former mayor of Atlanta and United Nations ambassador during the Clinton administration, wrote in a letter to the Georgia legislature in March of 2011, quote, we also have a cavity epidemic today in our inner cities that have been fluoridated for decades. I am most deeply concerned for poor families who have babies. If they cannot afford unfluoridated water for their baby's milk formula, do their babies not count? Of course they do. This is an issue of fairness, civil rights, and compassion. We must find better ways to prevent cavities, such as helping those most at risk for cavities obtain access to the services of a dentist, end quote. Dr. Gerald Durley, a clinical psychologist, environmentalist, and pastor of the Providence Baptist Church in Atlanta, called upon the Georgia State Senate to end water fluoridation in March of 2011 in a letter saying, first and foremost, water fluoridation takes away people's choice. Second, fluoridation disproportionately harms members of the black community. Third, we cannot control the dose of fluoride people ingest when we put fluoride in the drinking water. We need to focus on helping people get access to dentists. Lack of fluoride does not cause cavities. Too many sugars in the teeth, lack of access to dental care, and lack of dental health education. These cause cavities. We also need to know why the full story about harm from fluorides is only just now coming out. I support the holdings of Fluoride Gate hearings at the state and national level so we can learn why we haven't been openly told that fluorides build up in the body over time, why our government agencies haven't told the black community openly that fluorides disproportionately harm black Americans, and why we've been told that decades of extensive research show fluoridation to be safe, when the National Research Council in 2006 listed volumes of basic research that has never been done. This is a serious issue for all Americans of every race and in every location." End quote. Dr. Alveda King, the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but a civil rights advocate of stature in her own right, wrote in June of 2011, quote, "The Centers for Disease Control has clearly been trying to preserve fluoridation at all costs, but the facts about fluoride harm are coming out anyway. This is a civil rights issue. No one should be subjected to drinking fluoride in their water, especially sensitive groups like kidney patients and diabetics, babies in their milk formula, or poor families that cannot afford to purchase unfluoridated water. Black and Latino families are being disproportionately harmed." End quote. Election Day is a fitting day to discuss civil rights issues. Water fluoridation began in Raleigh in 1956, many years before the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act were put into place. Water fluoridation continues in Raleigh in 2012, disproportionately harming blacks, Latinos, the poor,
thank you very much.
undernourished, and violating
Next we have
civil
Rocco
rights of every citizen who
Piserchia.
spoke this morning, turned on their
Thank-
tap water, and was poisoned by their government.
Rocco.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. I've sent an email with supporting documents. Due to limitation of time, please check your email, and you'll see those documents. There's 4 issues I would like to address. 2 indirectly involve the council, 2 directly involve the Raleigh City Council. The first one is the Patriot Act. When the Patriot Act was passed in 2001, it involved several provisions that did damage and undermine our constitutional rights. One was the definition of domestic terrorist. According to the Patriot Act, domestic terrorist is anyone that commits any type of crime, not just a felony. That's considered terrorism. We should oppose that, and I believe we can do that at the local level. We can do that at the local level by passing a non-binding resolution against those provisions of the 2001 Patriot Act. And of course, the Obama administration has reaffirmed the Patriot Act. It's up every 2 years. The second one would be the 2012 NDAA, the 2012 National Defense Authorization Act. There were provisions in that concerning indefinite detention of U.S. citizens without due process. Any of us here could be on a secret list now, and we could disappear without a jury trial. Again, at the city level, we can pass a resolution, non-binding resolution, to oppose that. The value in such resolutions, and there has been, in 2004, 300 municipalities did pass resolutions up to that point against the Patriot Act. As far as passing resolutions that are non-binding against the Patriot Act and against those indefinite detention provisions, the 2012 NDAA, that would help encourage the North Carolina General Assembly to invoke the 10th Amendment to nullify those provisions. Closer to home, as far as what you can directly do, I would like to question the council as far as the wisdom of being part of ICLEI, the ICLEI. This organization is a front organization for the United Nations. I do not understand why we need to be part of ICLEI and why that money is being spent. For example, if we do institute light rail, how does that help the people of Raleigh? We don't need central planners that are employed outside the area of Raleigh. Finally, you've heard much about fluoridation in the past. I would simply add there was a Harvard study that was published, news report, September 13, 2012. Harvard study proved long-term analysis, fluoridated water lowers IQ in children. That's science. That's reality. To the best of my knowledge, the fluoridation studies that were used back in the past, back in the day, were based upon calcium fluoride. What's put in our water now is a neurotoxin. It's sodium fluoride. So I would respectfully request that the Raleigh City Council withdraw from ICLEI, and I would respectfully request the Raleigh City Council stop fluoridating our water. Thank you much.
Thank you very much. Mr.
Have all that.
Is Son Butler, has that one been